All right, number one, we're asked to find the cosine of the inverse tangent of 3 over 4. So the way we're going to start this is we're going to replace this, the inverse tangent of 3 over 4, with some variable. We'll call it u. So we're going to say u is equal to the inverse tangent of 3 over 4. And that means that the tangent of u is equal to 3/4. And that's helpful because now we can draw our little right triangle here. And we're going to call this angle u. And so we know that whatever u is, the tangent has got to be equal to 3 over 4, which means that the opposite side over the adjacent side is equal to 3/4. So let's set the opposite side equal to 3 and the adjacent side equal to 4. So now we can see that the tangent of u is equal to 3 over 4. All right, and then now since we've replaced this inverse tangent of 3/4 with u, or we've set inverse tangent of 3 over 4 equal to u, that means that the problem that we're trying to solve now is just the cosine of u. So we can replace this inverse tangent of 3 over 4 with u. And the cosine, remember, is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. The length of the adjacent side over the length of the hypotenuse is going to give us the cosine of this angle u. So we need to know this hypotenuse. And we're going to find that using the Pythagorean theorem. Of course, since this is 3 and 4, this is a special triangle. So we can easily find the hypotenuse. This is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, so the legs are 3 and 4, the hypotenuse is 5. And so the cosine of u is equal to the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, or 4 over 5. And that's going to be our answer. All right. Number 3. For number 3, we've got the sine of the inverse cotangent of x. All right, this one's a little bit different because we don't have a constant in here. We have a variable. So what we're going to end up with at the end is not a constant. It's going to be an expression. So let's start by setting all of this equal to u. U equals the inverse cotangent of x, which means that the cotangent of u is equal to x. And then we can draw our little triangle, and we'll make this angle u. And the cotangent, remember, is the reciprocal of the tangent. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So cotangent is adjacent over opposite. So if cotangent of u is equal to x, then this side, the length of this side, divided by the length of this side, has got to be equal to x. So we'll just make this length x and this length 1. So that the cotangent of u is equal to the adjacent side over the or the opposite side. So cotangent of u is equal to x over 1, or just x. All right, and so now we're trying to find the sine of that. So the sine of u, but to find sine we need opposite over hypotenuse. So we need to find this hypotenuse. And we're going to need to use the Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem says that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the square of the legs. So x squared plus 1 squared is equal to this hypotenuse squared. And so the hypotenuse, this is just x squared plus 1, if we take the square root of both sides, we get that the hypotenuse is equal to the square root of x squared plus 1. And so now to find the sine of u, it's just going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse, or 1 over the square root of x squared plus 1. And that's going to be our answer right there. 1 over the square root of x squared plus 1.